Sit closer to the fire. Night is coming, and it's time for fairy tales. Today, I will tell you a fairy tale about how the polar night and polar day appeared. A fairy tale about how the raven stole the sun. Long ago, when the world was young, the sun shone over the northern lands, just like everywhere else, bringing warmth and light every day. Yes, it was weaker in winter, but it never disappeared completely. Back then, there was no long darkness, and the frosts were not so bitter. In those times, there lived a grim raven. He was darker than the deepest night and as massive as a mountain. He understood the language of humans, animals, and spirits. But more than anything, he loved solitude and silence. The noise of people and even the rustling of animals disturbed his peace. Only at night did everything settle into stillness. One evening, perched atop a high cliff, Raven thought to himself, "What if I take the sun away, hide it forever? Then it would always be night, and I would finally have peace." And so, when the sun was once again sinking toward the horizon, Raven soared into the sky, beat his mighty wings, circled around, and grasped the sun in his sharp talons. The sun was as light as a feather and as hot as a shaman's fire. Raven swiftly carried it away to the mountains, hid it deep inside a cave, and sealed the entrance with heavy stones. The world plunged into darkness. A night began that did not end. The frost deepened, rivers froze into thick layers of ice, animals hid in their dens, and people gathered together, lighting great fires for warmth. "What has happened? Where is the sun?" they asked one another, but no one knew the answer. So they went to the oldest and wisest shaman and asked him to discover what had befallen the sun. The old shaman drummed and danced around the fire for a long time. Then he spoke. "This is the work of the grim raven." Taking the shaman with them, the people set out on a long journey. They crossed frozen plains, traversed rivers locked in ice, and climbed icy mountains until they reached the cliff where Raven sat. There, they saw the cave entrance, buried beneath heavy stones. The shaman struck his drum and sang, calling upon the spirits of the wind to scatter the stones. But the rocks were too heavy. Then he called upon the spirit of the earth to clear the entrance to the cave. The earth trembled and cracks formed in the cliff. But instead of opening, more stones tumbled down, sealing the entrance even tighter. Finally, the old shaman sang the sacred song, summoning the spirits of the ancestors. Glowing figures appeared, circling around Raven. Raven grew frightened and decided to release the sun. Besides, the endless night had become boring, and, if he was honest, a little too cold. Raven swooped down from the peak, pushed the stones aside, and the cave opened. The sun burst forth, soaring high into the sky, filling the world with light once again. People rejoiced. Animals emerged from their dens, the snow began to melt, and rivers broke free from their icy grip, flowing once more toward the ocean. But as time passed, they realized their world had changed. Now, in winter, the sun vanished for a long time, leaving the northern lands in darkness and cold. The long night lasted for almost half a year, and in the summer, the sun shone almost all the time, only slightly touching the horizon before rising back into the sky. This is how the polar day and the polar night came to be. And Raven, he continued to soar over the northern lands and doze atop his cliff. But now, he was far more cautious about making changes, for he had learned an important lesson. If you alter something and then try to put it back, things may never be quite the same again.